Chelsea 3, Wolves 1, and Cole Palmer is back with a vintage performance, although it does kind of feel like the scoreline flattered us a little bit. Welcome, Blue Believers, to another episode of the Stamford Sync, where we are syncing up with everything Chelsea FC, and we get to talk about today another win in the Premier League. That's undefeated in the Premier League from Liam Rosinia now. Maybe I'm grasping at straws a little bit just to try and find the positives in the situation we're in at the moment. But ultimately, it's a great run of form that is continuing, and I'm pretty happy about it. So we're going to go through the lineup, we're going to look at the stats, and we're going to talk about the game in general. But guys, before we get into it, if you are enjoying the content and would like to see more, please do me the distinct honour of liking and sharing the video, subscribe to the channel, or just roast me in the comments, whatever gets you through your day. So the lineup was unexpected, sort of. I mean, looking at the SofaScore version of the lineup, it's a little bit weird, but this is what we've got. So it's Robert Sanchez in goal, Malo Gusto at right back, which also, by the way, Reece James not on the bench, so a little bit worried about that. Centre-back pairing of Wesley Fofana, Trevor Chalobah, Marc Cucurella, of course, at left-back, Andre Santos and Moises Caicedo in the centre of midfield. Now, this is where things get a little bit weird. So, seeing the lineup as I did before the game came out, it looked like it was going to be Pedro Neto on the left, Cole Palmer on the right, and Enzo Fernandez on the middle. But based on how the game looked, and obviously what we're seeing here from SofaScore, it was very much a little bit different. Cole Palmer definitely was the central player. Pedro Neto 100% spent more time out on the right, and Enzo Fernandez seemed to be occupying a lot of that left channel. Although Cucurella held the width of it, do you know what I mean? And obviously João Pedro up top. So, standout performances here have to go to Cole Palmer and João Pedro, I think, although there were, like you can see, obviously, Caicedo was good. Caicedo didn't get carded in this game, by the way. Love that, because that's the first game in a while that he hasn't picked up a yellow card. Andre Santos did play pretty well and unfortunately came off with an injury towards the end of the game. Wesley Fofana had a good performance as well. So, and the subs of the game were Alejandro Garnacho, who came on for Cole Palmer at the 60th odd minute. Now, that's, again, a little bit concerning, maybe. Cole Palmer's back, do you know what I mean? I'm going to get into that in a minute, but ultimately he came off on the 60th minute. So that kind of says, all right, okay, maybe he's not perfectly up to scratch yet, but he put in a great performance, and that's all that matters. Garnacho, on the other hand, not so much. It's starting to get a little bit worrying about Garnacho, man. Like, about a month ago, he was scoring goals intermittently and getting involved in games here and there, and it felt like he was just on the cusp of breaking through to something, but doesn't look great for him at the moment, man. He is just looking a bit weak. He is really, really struggling to get involved when he's getting opportunities, and he is still getting opportunities. Josh Achiampong came on the 75th minute for Malo Gusto, who was battered by his own teammate and is nursing a pretty nasty-looking bruise on his face. Josh Achiampong didn't set the game alive or whatever, but as soon as he came on, he made one of his trademark, which is weird for him to already have something trademark, but darting runs through the middle. And it is mad. Just sometimes Josh Achiampong gets the ball and just legs it through the middle of the pitch with the ball, and everyone just is like, what do we do about it? It's crazy. So either way, great to see him get some game time, although it was, again, at right back. That will be a bit of a concern for him because he's kind of come out and said that he would like to spend more time at centre-back. Liam Delap came on for João Pedro at 75 minutes as well, and again failed to really make his mark on the game and make anything happen. And then Yoro Hato came into play in midfield for the injured Andre Santos. So let's talk about the headline. Cole Palmer. It's interesting because I was actually thinking, so Cole Palmer got 2 penalties and scored 1 goal from open play in this game. And after he scored his first penalty, I remember thinking to myself, do you know what is interesting? Because when Cole Palmer joined the team, he kind of found his way into form by coming off the bench and scoring a few penalties, and then really, really kind of found himself. So, and then he got the second penalty, and I was just like, and he smiled a little bit, and then he scored that amazing goal from open play. Lovely cut back from Cucurella out on the left-hand side, and he just launched it into the net. Prime Cole Palmer. So when I say a vintage Cole Palmer performance, I mean, an overall good performance backed up by 2 calm, cool, solid penalties and a great goal from open play. Hopefully, we can expect to see a little bit more of this kind of stuff, man. Now, we did dominate the game. We're going to get into the stats in a little bit, and there was a lot of big chances, but it is a little bit frustrating that we scored 3 goals in the first half, conceded 1 very early into the second half, and then basically nothing happened for the rest of the game, man. The second half was a bit of a snooze fest, I'm not going to lie. Just in terms of and you know what? I'm happy that I can be back at this point now where I get to watch a game of football and be a little bit disappointed by the fact that the second half of the game wasn't exactly blockbuster, because compared to how it had been for the few months before Liam Rosenior took over, like, that's already a marked improvement, right? Absolutely already a marked improvement. So let's have a little look at the stats, man. Like I say, Cole Palmer was obviously brilliant. João Pedro will have been disappointed not to have actually got a goal, but at the end of the day, his excellent centre-forward play is what won us both of those penalties in the first place, and terrible defending from Wolves, but they're bottom of the league. So yeah, that's another thing about all this, isn't it? It's Wolves. They are bottom of the league, but they have been playing better recently, and they've given us a tough time already this season. So the stats: Chelsea in blue, Wolves in green. 68% possession to their 32. Kind of what you'd expect, I guess, from a Wolves team. Expected goals, 3.16 to 0.78 from them. So we essentially nailed our expected goals, and they just overperformed theirs very slightly. The goal of theirs was like, it's just a bit messy, man. It was another one of those moments where it was all kind of going on in the box, and, you know, it just wasn't very solid, and we lost our heads a little bit, and unfortunately it slipped through. But fortunately, it was the only goal in the game. We can lament not getting a clean sheet, but at the end of the day, it's 3 points, it's 3 goals, a hat-trick, a first half hat-trick for Cole Palmer, so that's all good. Big chances, 6 to their 1. Now, that's great to have 6 big chances, do you know what I mean? But it also says we should have scored more goals in this game, man. You got to think, like, from going in 3-0 up at half time, like, and to not score a goal in the second half at all was a little bit disappointing. I guess some of that can be attributed to the fact that Garnacho was taken off for Palmer at the end of the day, and Garnacho's not exactly smashing it at the moment. There was a couple of really good opportunities towards the end, like Pedro Neto missed a few, and do you know what I mean? Again, you know, when you bring in on the likes of Liam Delap, and, you know, he's not really looking great, Garnacho's not really looking great. It is, the concern is really starting to set in, and look, I know it's been this way for a while, but at the end of the day, you can have hope until it's been long enough, do you know what I mean? And I think it's been long enough now for us to really, really start looking at players like Garnacho and Liam Delap and be like, they're not really bringing anything to the team, are they? And ultimately, that is going to put their positions at risk in the summer. I don't think either of them are probably going to make it into their international teams for the World Cup. Maybe Garnacho, I'm not really sure about Argentina's left wing position, but Liam Delap, he was being touted as the Harry Kane regen at some point, do you know what I mean? Obviously, he had a great season for Ipswich last year, but he's just not doing it in a Chelsea shirt, is he? Anyway, on with the stats. Goalkeeper saves 2 to 3. Again, another good performance from Sanchez. No qualms there at all. Corner kicks 4 to 2. We were in the ascendancy more often than not. Fouls 9 to 8. That's less than it has been in the last few games, to be honest. It still feels like quite a lot, but like I say, Caicedo definitely managed to rein himself in a little bit today, because he's normally good for 3 or 4 fouls a game, but not today. Passes, 725 to 318. We love massive passing performances against Wolves. Do you remember when Thomas Tuchel came in? His first game was against Wolves, and I think it was a 0-0 draw, actually, but we had, like, the highest passing ever in a Premier League game or something like it. It was ridiculous. Wolves ultimately play, and especially one of their players got injured and came off in I can't remember if it was the first or second half, but ultimately they changed to, like, a proper back three at that point as well. So it was always expected that we were going to have more possession and therefore more passes. Tackles 20 to 12, good defensive performance. Free kicks 7 to 9. Interesting, they got more free kicks than us. Yellow cards 1 to 1. So the discipline stuff there, really, really good, actually, because genuinely can be a bit of a concern from time to time, can't it? So, another win in the Premier League. Leeds midweek, which is, you know, that is what it is, isn't it? Like, last time we made Leeds look like Real Madrid, so I'm hoping that we can kind of, you know, at the end of the day, with Liam Rosenior, the thing I'm happy about so far, I'm not panicking going into these games anymore. Under Maresca, every single game felt like we could just lose, do you know what I mean, or something bad could happen. We got so many poor results in the first half of this season, man. It was atrocious, really. So I'm enjoying the feeling of going into these games like Wolves. Like, I'm not buzzing about today, do you know what I mean? Like, I'm happy we won. Definitely an excellent 3 points in the bag. Disappointing that Tottenham absolutely wasted it against Man U again today. Arsenal obviously won. I haven't checked, but Villa were 1-1 with Bournemouth last time I looked at the scores, actually, so maybe they've dropped some points there, but not a huge amount going on around us to help us out, really. But yeah, I'm just happy that we're winning the games that we're supposed to win, because for my money, which is worth very little at the moment, truth be told, but for my money, to build a foundation of a good team, you need to comfortably beat the teams you're supposed to beat, and then you go toe-to-toe with the big boys. You know, your Arsenals, your Man Cities, your Liverpools, all that kind of thing. Maresca kind of had it Uno reversed, where he was like, I'm going to go and beat the big teams, but I'm really going to struggle against Bournemouth. I'm going to make Leeds look like Real Madrid. So what this is proving, again, time and time again, is even without a stellar performance, because it wasn't a stellar performance today, great performance from Cole Palmer, great performance from João Pedro, but the rest of the team maybe a little bit lacking. Even though it wasn't a stellar performance, we got it over the line because of the quality of our players. That is just like the 100% absolutely the thing for me. It's like Maresca moaned so much about the team and complained so much about the team, and Liam Rosenior is coming in and just getting the job done with the players that he's got. So you can only think when it goes into the summer, it's going to be really obvious who actually needs upgrading on. Do you know what I mean? Rather than Maresca just being like, I just don't like this player. Do you know what I mean? When we're beating all of these teams we need to beat, but we're struggling in the bigger games, that shows you that maybe we need another striker. Maybe we need a decent centre attacking backup to Cole Palmer to kind of supplement that attack a little bit. So, like I say, it wasn't exactly the most flamboyant, amazing, bombastic game of football you've ever seen, but it is another 3 points in the bag, and for that, I am happy. Liam Rosenior is doing a good job, and look, I'm just going to talk about it a little bit, man, not too much, but when Reece James missed the Arsenal game, everyone went nuts because of one tweet that was like, he's been rested, and then everyone was like, I can't believe you rested him. Look, he wasn't there again today, man. So for anyone that saw the Reece James thing last time and lost their minds about it, look, man, he wasn't he wasn't even in the squad today. He's not being rested. He's an injury risk at the moment, right? And we can't lose him long term again. Pedro Neto made the squad, for instance, so that just backs it up even more. Do you know what I mean? Pedro Neto was available, Reece James wasn't. Reece James definitely would have been on the bench today, 100%, at the very least. Do you know what I mean? Because if you look at the end of the game, we had to bring Yoel Hato on in midfield, who he's done a bit of inverting and stuff, but we literally just stuck Yoel Hato in midfield because we didn't have the option. So, someone like Reece James definitely, had he be available, had he have been fit, definitely would have been a great option to have in that sort of situation. So, to sum up, Cole Palmer, excellent. João Pedro, still having really good performances, and I'm not too concerned that he hasn't scored in the last couple of games. Do you know what I mean? He essentially won the 2 goals today. The Arsenal game was always going to be tough, and he's still in really good form at the end of the day. Garnacho, still concerning. Delap, still concerning. Other than that, do you know what I mean? Like Reece James, I guess the injury stuff is a little bit concerning with him, but we just went out there and got it done, and for that I'm exceptionally happy. Going to keep it quite short today, guys. I'm going to wrap it up there. Thank you very much for sticking around until the end of the video. If you did, I will catch up with you all very, very soon. Take it easy. Peace.